Hello, everybody! BeMetalways here. We're back for another week, another album review. The new album this week is Pain of Salvation, and the album title is Panther, which was released by Inside Out Music on August 28th, 2020. I know that this band is quite famous, but let's give you a quick background on it. Pain of Salvation is a Swedish progressive metal band led by Daniel Gildenglow. He is the band's main songwriter, lyricist, guitarist, and vocalist. The band has been through too many lineup changes to count, and Pain of Salvation's sound is characterized by this oscillation between heavy and calm passages, complex vocal harmonies, and song structures. The band's first studio album, called Entropia, was released back in 1997, so they have been around the block. Remedy Lane, though, released in 2002, is perhaps the definitive album from the band, hailed as an absolute masterpiece by many, including myself. I personally don't know their discography inside out, no pun intended, but I do have some of their better albums, and I thought that the previous release, In the Passing Light of Day, was a very good album. Actually, a top 10 album of my 2017's year-end list. So I was very eager to see what Panther has to offer. So let's talk about Panther. Panther is the 11th studio album, and as I mentioned, the follow up to In the Passing Light of Day from 2017. Panther was recorded, mixed, and produced by Daniel himself, with another Daniel Bregestrand, who also worked with In Flames, Meshuggah, and Devin Townsend. The album comes with a comprehensive artwork theme with illustrations made by Andre Meister. This theme of the album is, as Daniel described, it's about people who feel that they are going through life like himself, he thinks, at a different speed than our context and surroundings. Panther in a dog's world, as he says. Musically, the album features 9 new tracks in 54 minutes, and it opens with a single, Accelerator. Now, this song, to be honest, did not help me getting into this album. The drums give the feeling of being programmed, which was what the band wanted, as I heard in an interview. And also, the keyboards project this electronic music flavor. Not to mention that to me, the vocals are a bit like whining. Now, is this a bad song? Not really, but it doesn't interest me that much. It's certainly better than the title track, which I can't listen to. It's just, for me, awful. To give you an idea, Daniel is rapping in that song, and basically you can compare it to a Limp Bizkit song. So, enough said. Restless Boy, which is another single, is not much better, as it also has this very heavy electronic and industrial feeling, and that's too much for my taste. On the bright side, there are some very good moments in Panther. On Future, for example, despite having a bit of this electronic flavor, is a more organic song and features a better drum sound, a cool acoustic guitar, and even heavier electric guitars, which is a rarity in Panther. And the vocals are also showing a bit more energy. The one cool thing about Panther in general is the use of several different instruments and sounds, which they might not always work for me, but in some moments they do. For example, the piano intro and the acoustic guitar solo on Wait are just great. This is actually a 7-minute song and is one of my favorites. There's also a very interesting moment with this very short instrumental, I think it's a minute and a half, Fear, which also brings a new flavor and dynamic to the album. Another highlight for me is Species. I like the lyrics of the song. I thought they were quite interesting, even though I did hear some reviews that didn't like it. But more importantly, musically, it's a dynamic song. It's, has some of the heaviest moments on the album, so it's really cool track. As usually, the album closes with an epic, in this case, the 13-minute emotional song Icon. It's also a song that uses more guitars and even has a guitar solo. Imagine that. The only electric guitar solo on the album. And it's so cool because it also reminds me the guitar solo on Let It Be from the Beatles. So it's a very nice touch. Icon brought strong emotions and a deeper connection with me. In other words, is the song that worked like the early albums. I really liked it. While I didn't like the sound of the drums in most of the tracks, the production is dynamic and has its merits. It also generates, in a lot of moments, this 3D spatial feeling when you listen to it on headphones. Now, if I've been even pickier about this album, or maybe summarizing some of the moments that I didn't like on the album, my main problem with Panther is the lack of guitars and the intense influence of electronic slash pop music. The production, especially the loop programmed drums feeling, didn't help me. And the man bun on the promo pictures doesn't do me any favors as well, getting eager to listen to Panther. But at least it's not on the cover, right? Wrapping up this review, in the passing light of day, set the bar very high, and Panther, not surprisingly, could not live up to the expectations. Now, I'm not saying that Panther is a bad album per se, but in many moments it's not for me. The good moments, as discussed, did not fully compensate for the songs that I disliked or the choices that really annoyed me, like the emphasis on electronic sounds and certainly the title track with a rapping thing. And a great song like the closer Icon only left me with a feeling that I wanted more of that and not of the other stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm giving Panther 74 out of 100, which to me means a mixed review. With that said, Panther is definitely a grower and an album that can work for those who won't be too bothered by the intense use of electronic pop music elements. So, before I close for this week, I want to give you two recommendations. There were two other albums being released this week: Manticora, To Live, To Kill, To Live. It's a band with this power progressive metal sound from the 90s with a touch of modernness sound with it. Sounds a lot like Blind Guardian, and it's really promising album. The other one is also power progressive metal, Vanishing Point with Dead Elysium, but in this case it sounds more like Masterplan, Camelot, Yorn, so it's a bit more polished, but also very interesting album if you are into this kind of metal. So, enough said for this week. I hope you are all enjoying this channel. Please like, subscribe, share, help me out here, and be meta always.